Welcome to Phrasing with Jay. It's been a long time. I've been very busy, so let me get through all these social promotion thingamabobbers that I got to do because I don't remember to do them if I don't write them down. You can follow me on Instagram at GameJSUS. You could follow me on Twitter, X, whatever, at GameJ and the number one, not the letters. That would lead you to somewhere different that I don't know where because I've never checked. And finally, you could find me on YouTube at GameJ. I think it's GameJ. GameJSUS. You just type in GameJ in the YouTube and I'll show up inevitably. And since I mentioned YouTube, I have a small announcement to make. I would like to say that, yes, I am still making videos. I'm still working on them. I have 3 in the works right now, so you can expect them in the near future. I can't say for sure. I just know I'm actively working on them. Now, I'm sure all of you are wondering, like, Jay, where have you been? Well, I've been doing voice acting and other things, which I'll make a little announcement about later. But suffice it to say, I've been very busy in the field of voice acting, and in order to stay on task with that and the other things I'm involving myself in, all above board, I assure you, they're taking a significant amount of time, and being able to sit down and do a podcast and have it ready and have a quality show for people is proving to be extraordinarily difficult. So I've had to reassess a few things honestly and go, okay, what can you do? Because I feel as if I always have something to say. I just know that it can't come in a weekly format just based on how busy I get. And it's one of those where, do I want to just have kind of shitty shows and just kind of blather about nothing? No, I don't want to do that. So that's kind of been a reason why the podcast has been very quiet. But today, it's very relevant. It's very relevant in the field of voice acting. I have gotten a lot of questions from people, and I won't name them because that's just, I haven't asked them. So everybody's going to remain anonymous. I'll just run with the questions. But I've gotten a lot of questions from fans. Thank you to all of you who have questions. I've gotten a lot of questions from other voice actors who have asked me a number of things that I'm going to talk about today on the show. And initially, right, check this out. I was very hesitant to offer anybody advice that they're going to take with any serious level of authority because I don't think I have any, truthfully. Like, I don't think I do. That's ridiculous. Like, my impact on the universe is so infinitesimally small. And like, even in the voice acting world, come on, dude. Like, I'm not famous, not by any means. So for my fellow colleagues and just fans in general, people to ask me questions about this stuff, it's kind of blown me away. And I wanted to be very aware of that. And so that was kind of the biggest reason why the number of you voice actors who, you know who you are, who have reached out to me and have asked me questions about certain things, which I'll get into today. I love leading you on with that one. It's very fun. But I really think it came down to the fact that I felt I lacked the necessary qualification to give anybody any real advice outside of the most basic day one stuff that any voice actor on the professional level would inevitably tell you, like pop filter placement, how to proof your studio, your home studio, how to install a DAW, like all these really basic things I felt like I can cover because I've had to do them. But I inevitably came to the realization of, if people are asking me and they want me to give them an answer, just an honest answer, you know what? Okay, fine. I'll do that. So I'm going to cover all the voice actor questions first about the industry and all these other types of things. And then I'll follow up with fan questions. Just so we have a tiny semblance of structure and order into this goddamn thing. Because good Lord, me structuring order? I exist in chaos. I don't really do good with structure. Okay, yeah, we'll get to the questions. And the major question that I wanted to get to was, I'm going to gloss over the first part of it because that's not important. They just said hello, you know, they've seen my auditions on some projects and they took a closer look at my profile and they were startled by seeing how many submissions and all that kind of stuff. They also went on to say how they just were wondering how I was able to do all these auditions, complete all the client work, make music, run my YouTube channel, all this. And Thank you for the person who sent that. I very much appreciate it. The way I thought I could break this down was really just kind of giving everybody an average day. So my usual day starts around 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is when I wake up. And from there, you get ready, you shower, whatever. I don't have one of those crazy morning TikTok people routines. I don't duct tape my mouth and splash my face with ice cube. No, I don't. I have coffee and I smoke a cigarette. That is very unhealthy. Don't smoke. It's a bad habit. It will kill you, and I very much need to stop, and I'm trying. Although I've been saying that for decades, so I'm probably not doing a very good job. But anyways, I wake up around 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and I will wake up, get my brain together, and then I open my email. I don't look at my phone. I really don't look at my phone until somebody contacts me. I'm very cell phone phobic in a weird, fucked up way, kind of. Not really, I guess, because I don't want to have any distractions. Cell phones just eat up your attention. It just naturally happens because you have everything on there, but this isn't a thing about cell phones. So from there, and that time I need to wake up, it could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour. Like, I really don't know. It depends. And then from there, I'm usually in the studio by 10 a.m. unless I have a client that books earlier in the day, which then I will wake up earlier. But this is an average day we're talking. And I usually split my time. And this can vary. There are some days where from the moment I hit a microphone, from about 10 a.m. to about, I think 5 to 8 p.m. is when I actually step away from a microphone. And what I do in those hours is probably the most important part. Because when I open that email, or my email, whatever, and I get emails, I have to discern which clients' scripts are going to take the longest to fulfill. It's just that simple. I got to figure out, okay, which are my big projects that are long-term and will take 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even a whole week of recording. It really depends. But I know those long-term projects, I got to organize that. And then you have your smaller projects where you're doing supporting work or you're doing a role that's reoccurring, and you may only get contacted by the company or the client once every couple months to come back on. But that's great. You're a side character. Great. You got work. And then you have really small, like tiny jobs, that extra work, background characters, NPC voice work, whatever it may be, whatever you have that you can quantify as something small and just, okay, I know I can do that in like 5 minutes. It's not going to take long. It's 2 lines and it's not emotionally driven or whatever. It's just basic dialogue. And that's how I kind of structure what I'm doing as far as gigs that I have booked with clients. From there, that determines how many hours I will spend auditioning. And I never stick rigorously to, okay, I'm going to wake up and then it's going to be all client work, blah, 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 blah. Or it's going to be all auditions, blah, blah, blah. No, it really depends. Depending on your deadlines with the work that you already have for clients, you have to prioritize certain things. So maybe some days client work comes first, auditions come later. And then after I hang up the microphone for my job, I can go use the microphone for my other work and the other stuff that I do, like music and YouTube and all these other things. Now, you may be wondering, well, Jay, if you wake up anywhere between 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and it takes you 30 minutes to an hour to wake up and then you sit down at a microphone in a goddamn booth till 5 to 8 p.m., when do you eat? When are you a human? When do you do things? Well, obviously I take a lunch break. That could depend on what I have going on, how invested I am in the script at any given moment, or sometimes, and this is something that I wish every new voice actor and person just walking around planet Earth grasps. When you know you've had enough, and you can take a minute, take a break. Breaks aren't bad. Breaks are good. Rest is recovery, man. It's the truth. And everybody knows the big difference between, okay, I'm done. I'm tapped. I need a break. I need an hour. I need to eat. I need to do anything but what I'm doing now. Take that break. especially in a creative field like voice acting, because if you're stressed out, your cortisol's going all fucking crazy and you just feel like shit and every voice sounds the same that you're making, and then all of a sudden you find yourself angry at the casting call that you got because something happened with the punctuate. You see what I mean? At a certain point, too much is too much, and you got to take a break, which I do. I would say for every hour of voice acting, I probably take about 5 to 10 minutes just to walk around. I'll go outside. I might go over to my little corner store and like buy Gatorade or like whatever I'm doing. I'll give myself a minute, a reprieve, just to kind of reset myself. And when I come back to the microphone, you'd be surprised how much more enthusiastic you'd be because you gave yourself that time. Aside from all that, another very important factor is the audition process. Client work is client work, okay? You already did the hard part. You already auditioned. You already know the character. You already know how to do the voice. At that point, it's just simply fulfilling what the client's ask is. Do the best job you can, pour your heart into it, and send it. If you need retakes, or if they need retakes, don't take it personally, man. It's not you. It could have just been your performance, or you could have done it in a way that was great, but it didn't fit the scene. You got to remove your ego from this stuff, people. You can't be getting butthurt over something as simple as a retake or criticism, or if they want you to do it differently, or if they say the last take wasn't good. You got to get in the mindset of give until this client is happy. And I don't mean to a ridiculous extreme extent, unless you're working on a Stanley Kubrick fucking movie. At that point, you got to go mentally berserk just to get your goddamn paycheck. I'm talking about most normal people. They just want you to do the best job that you can, and when they hear it in their ears, they'll tell you you're good. But that's client work. The other side of it is the auditioning room. And auditions, I approach it from a mindset of efficiency without sacrificing quality. And it sounds simple because it really is. Okay, obviously, there are things you have to learn about your voice. You have to learn where your natural range is, where your lower range is, where your higher ranges are. I'm sure there are people far more qualified to explain these things on a scale far more intelligently than I can. But what I've learned to do is I learned where my voice sits. I learned where I can modify it. I learned what I can do with it. And I came to a conclusion about my specific case. I can tweak, tune, play around with the sonics of my voice, whatever I want to do. However, there's always a part of it, of my voice specifically, that still sounds like me. I can't get rid of it. And I used to wonder what it was. I used to try to get rid of it, but I realized, one, it was just me, partially. And two, it's what I learned through other casting people and people who I've worked with is they've said that you just have a very distinctive voice. It's just a distinctive voice. Now that you've heard it, doesn't matter what voice I can try. I could never prank call you. All of you would know who it is. You'd be like, Jay, quit fucking around. And you'd be right. Because I would try to do the stupid, hey, your refrigerator is running joke, and then be awkward for 5 minutes because I realized how stupid that joke was. But do you get what I mean? Once you kind of figure out the range of your voice and what you can do with it, what roles you can play and you can't play, that brings me up to a very, very important thing about auditioning. There's a difference between auditioning for roles that frighten you, auditioning for roles that challenge you, and auditioning for roles that you have no business auditioning for. What's the example here? I have one. I have a mid-range to a low range. And I can hit, I would never qualify my voice in the range of high, not even if I do a cartoony character voice, because my range simply does not go that high. I was able to attain it when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, my timbre has changed, and the way I speak has changed slightly. My voice has naturally changed over time, so there's a lower resonance that I operate in now, which I had to learn where that fits. And your range and where your voice fits is going to be different than mine, or it could be similar. Not every voice is the same, so you can't treat it as such. The voice is an instrument, and everybody has a different one. So the way you play it is really what makes it sound different, I guess, because we have such distinctively different voices just from the onset, because we all have unique experiences in how we learned how to converse and how to speak and what part of our throat, what part of our tongue moves when we say specific words. Hence, accents and dialects and all these other things that are cool as fuck. So that's one major important factor. Don't audition for roles that you genuinely just will not get. Be honest with yourself. It's okay to be your biggest fan. I certainly am. Nobody else is. People fucking hate me. But the point is, audition for roles that suit you. Now, this gets on to another thing about just the roles in themselves. Depending on what the casting call is for, it absolutely changes how your line delivery is going to be. It's going to change how you interpret the audition side. It's going to change every aspect of the audition. And this isn't some wizardy mumbo jumbo I'm spewing out. I'll put it into a very, very simple example. A casting call for an audiobook is completely different than a casting call for a video game. It just is. The requirements are different. The method of delivery is different. The type of lines are different. They just are. So you have to approach it from that mindset. And what I mean by that is you can't go into a video game audition unless they're trying to book a narrator and narrate the script like you're reading it over a goddamn campfire. Unless that's what they want. I don't know why, but whatever. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It's just the same thing with genres. Sometime, and this is why, number one, read the goddamn casting call. For the love of God, read the whole thing. Even if it sucks, I don't care. Read the whole thing because there is information in there that you need to know that is most likely relevant. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a project description. And then you get to the characters themselves. Like, all these little details matter. If this character is young, if they're old, if they're middle-aged, are they gruff? Are they rough? Are they tough? Are they smooth? Are they suave? Are they chauvinistic? Are they pig-headed? Are they nice? Are they kind? Are they a sage? Is it a wizard? Is it a fucking monk? Is it whatever the character is? You have to tune yourself into that. You have to believe it. And that's the truth. A big thing that I've learned personally, the difference between doing an audition that sounds like a person talking versus reading words off a piece of paper or your tablet or screen, whatever you're using, is believing what you say under false pretenses. If I'm going to play a bandit and my lines are like, give me your money or give me your purse, I'm going to put myself into a place, not like a mentally damaging one, just like you just have to buy into who you are. You just have to buy that you are this person. And you're going to, if you're a bandit, for example, you're going to mug the lady. So when you say the line, yes, if you have to give it an accent or a voice, absolutely do that for the audition if it's called for. But if it's in a general accent that anybody can do, make it believable. Give the bandit a backstory that works for you. It doesn't have to be long or elaborate. You just got to give this example bandit a reason on why he's robbing this person. Is he doing it because he has a family? Maybe. Wouldn't that kind of affect the way you said, give me your money? Is he doing it because he's a drug-addled psycho in a Fallout video game? Is he a raider? That would impact things too. So these little things you have to kind of think about. I think it's important to think about. There's also, it sounds stupid, but like the environment you're in matters. Like, where are you? Where am I in this setting? How far away am I from the person that I'm speaking to? What am I looking at? What's going on in this scene? If these things aren't given to you in the audition sides or that sheet, because sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. That's a whole different thing. If it's not, you have to envision it. You have to read those words, read that character sheet, figure out who they are, and try to find how to make yourself believe that, how to become that person. Even if it's only 3 simple lines in an audition. And there's a part of you that's going to know. There's a part of you that will be unsure if the lines, for example, are what you want. But I think it's a good place to go in as far as that direction. Because if you're able to tell the truth just through fiction, at a certain point, you're not even acting. You're just giving off who you are. It's just a performance. Like some of the most heartbreaking emotional stuff I've ever had to do. I just had to tap into something that was either personally connected to me, which is kind of method, which I would love to do a whole thing on method acting because it's gone insane with what people are actually doing. My mindset on method acting is just locate something within you and your own experiences that you can channel into the performance. Doesn't mean you got to go fucking nuts. And that's just one of the many tirades I can have about getting into character and reading the lines and how trying your best to make them sound authentic. And that's another thing. Like, I don't remember where I heard it from because I want to shout him out. I'm not the type of guy to like just say something and not credit it if I can remember where the fuck I heard it from. That's his name. Funny Guy Timmy, right? Voice actors would know who he is. He's been on Casting Call Club as one of the educators, and he's fantastic. I highly recommend him. He's great. He's a very good voice actor. I've never met him, but I like his YouTube channel. I think he does cool shit over there. I think he gives good advice, far better advice than I could ever give. So, Funny Guy Timmy, if you ever hear this, hey, come on my podcast, man. Let's have a chat. But I don't remember the exact vernacular he used, but I remember him saying something about when you get into an audition, do 3 takes. 1, how you think it's supposed to sound. 2, how you think the creative casting people want it to sound. And then 3, go against your every instinct and just do it. Then listen back to them, get rid of them, and then re-record your audition. Because at that point, your voice has already wrapped around the sentences and the words, so you already know them, so it's easier to say. And at that point, you've done so many different contrasting emotions that the ones you fall under in that next audition run, the next recording run, rather, sound better. Now, I've done this, and I can only go by anecdotal evidence. I think it's a method that can work for some people. I think it's a method that can work for, dare I say, a majority of people. There are times where it works for me, but it's not 100%. And that is in no way discrediting what Funny Guy Tim is talking about. I think it's very good advice. I think it's a very good thing to do to learn the words, learn the dialogue. So instead of having to remember lines, you're just trying to figure out, well, what emotions am I going to throw into it this time? The other thing about auditioning is understanding formats. I hesitated even talking about this, but like format ABC, it's very, very simple. It's just ABC. A, voice 1, B, voice 2, C, voice 3. Pay attention to what the casting people want. Sometimes if you do the format in the wrong way, they will absolutely dismiss you. They will absolutely not call you back because you could be the best actor, but I would imagine there's a level of, it's just not professional. It's not up to our qualifications or our instructions, and voice acting is you kind of got to follow what the people say because that's what they're paying you to do. So if you can't do it in the audition, well, then you're probably not going to get the part. But that's my opinion. I don't know. There's also this part about auditioning in my mind of I never rush into auditions. Never, ever, 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 ever. I never approach an audition from a point of, I need this role. Well, yeah, of course I need the goddamn role. I'm an actor, right? All of us actors, unless you're famous. What did Kate Mulgrew say? Actress in Orange is the New Black and stuff like that. She said, we're all hired guns. The second we finish on a project, it's back to the chow line. And that is absolutely true. I am habitually unemployed. I'm unemployed every other day. And then in the same day, I get hired. I finished a job and then I'm unemployed again. It's just what it is. If you're not famous and you're under contract and you're managed, it's a gig. You're hitting as many as you can. You're doing the best job you can, and there's only so many you can do in a day. The point is, don't approach auditions from any point of desperation. I heard that from Joe Zija. He's very, very well known in the voice acting community. He has a fantastic service as far as a voice acting school, I believe it is. And I have no reason to go. It's nothing against him. It's just that everything I've learned on my own, and it's gotten me to a point where I'm a professional, so I'm just going to go that route. For other people who may need other advice, I recommend guys like Funny Guy Timmy and Joe Zija. They're fantastic. They've done things in realms that I have never been able to touch. So that alone should be why you should go listen to them over me. But it's my show, so I got to talk about it, right? There you go. But that's the other part about auditioning. Don't feel desperate when you're going into things because it'll come off in your read. Approach the character. Try to understand the character, whatever it is. Is it a shark? Good. That's a good thing. Play into it. Is it a monster? Is it a demon? Good. Play into it. Is it a normal, boring dad guy? Sure. Play into it. Read the dialogue. Recite it a few times. And then when you feel like you got the character, you feel like you got the voice, post your audition. And then do the smartest thing in the world and listen back to your takes before you post them. Because when you listen back to the takes that you make, you're going to know, okay, don't like that one. I love this take. Ooh, I'm sending that. And the ones that you go, yeah, I like those. Those are the ones you send. Send them. Send the ones you actually have confidence in. And at that point, you send the audition, forget you even did it. I'm being honest with you. Do not get your emotions tied up in if you get a part or not. That will tear you down quicker than you might even imagine. Or maybe you have imagined it. Or maybe you felt it before. I early on, I learned that do not get attached to these things. You do your audition. You do the best damn job you can. If you could look at yourself in the mirror that night and say to yourself that I do the best I could on those auditions, make sure you could say yes before you go to sleep and earn your fucking sunset. Because after you send it, there is nothing more you can do. It is out of your hands. You got to move on. Simply move on to the next one. And this comes down to numbers of auditions. Okay. There are times where I will do 10 auditions a day. There are times where I'll do 20. There are times where I'll do 30. There are times where I'll do more. But, and there's a big but here, that only happens depending on the types of roles I'm auditioning for. If I'm auditioning for animation in video games and all these other things that require character work and me coming up with voices and all this other stuff and all this other work I got to do, and it is work coming up with these things, but it's a job I love, that takes more of your time. So the amount of auditions you're going to be able to produce are going to be less versus a commercial read, a corporate read, an audiobook read, other reads, e-learning, other things that don't require you to modify your voice other than maybe putting on a faux accent if that's what the commercial people want or the ad people want or whatever it may be. And then there's this kind of order that I go down into when it comes to doing auditions. Like, obviously, I would look at the casting calls, and it could be on, like, the casting call club site, the other voice acting casting call places that I'm in and involved in. I look at them, and I go, okay, what do I fit immediately? What do I fit? Do all those first, because those are the easiest to do. Because those are the ones that match what you feel you can do as the talent, as the voiceover talent. Then I'll go to, okay, so I got all the ones that I know I can nail in my opinion. I can't say for the casting people. But what's next? Okay, that looks interesting. That's challenging. That's tricky. Oh, that's different. I'll do those next. And by the end of the day, I have anywhere between 10 to 30 auditions, maybe more, maybe less, depending. But I always try to get an average. I try to average anywhere between 15 to 20 auditions a day. That sometimes doesn't happen because there are stretches where I'm not able to audition because I have to fully focus on client work, or I have other things in my personal life that, no offense to what I do, I love what I do, but the people I'm responsible for and the people who depend on me and who love me and who I love very much, I am going to put them first. And that's really the key here, at least for me, in my average day. I try to balance from the time I sit down at a microphone to balance client work along with auditioning and keeping a steady flow of auditions because, truthfully, If you don't audition, you don't get hired. You don't get hired, how do you get paid? Like, it's just simple math here. You have to audition, and you have to do it consistently. And that's the biggest thing. It's finding the area where you work best consistently. It may not be the same hours that I have. You have a different life than I do. Assuredly you do. So your hours of consistency, what you can actually dedicate to auditioning and balancing with your client work that you attain, or perhaps you're hoping to obtain in the future, you'll find it. You'll go through trial and error, and then inevitably, over figuring out what works for you, because everybody truly is different, you'll find what hours of operation work for you, or the hours of operation that you can manage with, say you have another job, which I highly encourage that other people have. If you are getting into voice acting for the first time and you have a full-time job that pays your bills, keep that full-time job. Do not leave it. It's very good to have something to fund the dream until the dream can pay for itself. All right? It's just the truth. So don't go all crazy and quit your jobs because you want to be a voice talent. It doesn't work that way. Just like acting. Oh my God, how many poor people and wound up on casting couches on different video sites that we won't talk about because of this very reason, because they had no other option. But that only covers the day. That literally only covers the day side of what I do. So after whatever time it may be, between 5 to 8 p.m. when I finally hang up a microphone for my voice acting jobs and what I do there, that's where I got to decide, okay, am I working on a song? Am I working on a YouTube video? Because it takes time. Like, you have to pick and choose and prioritize certain things. You have to figure out which is the one you're going to handle that day. Because if I hang up a mic at like 7:30 and I know I'm trying to go to sleep at like 11 p.m. because I'm not going to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning and ruin my next day already because I had bad sleep. And we know this about sleep. Like, sleep isn't for weakness, man. It makes you better. Sleep is a fucking steroid, dude. It literally just heals you. Sleep, motherfucker. Just don't sleep too much and be a lazy bitch. Like, that's a different thing. But if I got to pick and choose, so I'll go, okay, I know I got, for example, right now, I know that I have 3 videos in the works right now. So right now, I don't need to go watch another movie and write another script on something because I have 3 I'm working on right now. So I have plenty to keep me busy, a lot. So I'll work on the other endeavors that I'm going to be working on. And then I'll go train. Then I'll go eat. And then I'll go sleep. It's very boring, if I'm being completely transparent. My life is extraordinarily boring. Too long didn't read. I wake up between 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. From about 10 a.m. till 5 till 8 p.m. I'm recording for the day job, doing voice acting stuff. And then from there, I'm either working on music or I'm working on YouTube or I'm working on something like that. And then I eat, I train, and I go to sleep. I literally don't do anything else. It's so boring. I can't really describe it any other way. So I don't know what else to tell you on that one. Other voice talents might tell you differently because their lives are different. And that's the thing I wanted to really bring up here, that if you're not in the top echelon, and this is true, if you're not in one of those top echelons where you have major shows under your name and you're not actually a famous voice actor, things are going to be a lot harder for you. They just will. And it's just simply an economic truth. Look, if you only make a certain amount, no matter what job you're doing, you have to live a certain way within your budget. And depending on what type of person you are, if you're social, if you're antisocial, it definitely determines what type of life you're going to lead outside of a microphone. You know, people know this about me. I don't have to mince words when I say this. Like, I'm not exactly the most sociable guy. I'm really not. I love acting. I love being a voiceover talent. I love collaborating with creative minds. But I'm also very reclusive and I'm very private. And I think that's why I operate the way I do. It's really just who I am as a person. And if I didn't have the level of isolation that I gave myself, or just this solitary state I'm in, I don't think I'd be able to do what I do. It's just that simple. But like I said, everybody's different. Now, that's just an average day for me. It really is. It's constant work, and then it's constant pursuits of creative endeavors. And when I'm not working on them, I'm spending time with the people who I love and who love me. And I encourage that. I encourage people not to get lost in this too much. And remember that, yes, this could be your dream. Yes, this could be your profession, whatever it may be. Love what you love, right? Do what you do. But always take the time to love the ones who love you. Because for better or worse, for whatever, they were there when you weren't shit. They were there for bad stuff. They were there for good things. They know you. They're there for you. And it doesn't have to be immediate family members. It's whoever in your life has earned that place in your heart. You make sure those people know you love them. Okay, I have no idea how many of these fan questions I'm going to get through today, because there is a lot more than I thought. So I'll just do them until I can't do them anymore, or I run out of things to say. We'll see. I will not say people's names because anonymity matters to me. So one of the questions is, when did you start your voice acting career, and who was your first client? I think, now don't quote me here, because my memory's terrible, but I think it was for a Halo machinima called the Jade Dynasty. And it was for a YouTube creator called, I think it was King Sangos. Go look for it. Actually, go to my YouTube channel, @GameJ, and I think it's in my portfolio. I think I still have it. Like one of the first, I don't know if that was my first, but that was the first one I remember that comes to mind being what I would qualify my first cementing of doing any type of voiceover work. Yeah. Has to be. And I played a bad guy. I just played like a bad guy who, I'm not going to spoil it. I remember it now. But I played a bad guy in red Halo armor. And it was cool. I remember seeing it, like vaguely. And I'm going, that's so dope. So yeah. And next question is, what led you to meet and eventually work with Alvaro on his projects? Solar Ball question. Solar Balls, Planet X, Blueberry. Haha. Love all of you. Genuinely, I do. Let me think. I don't know, or I don't remember how Alvaro and I actually met, but I've known him for a real long time. I mean, I've known him for, oh my God, I want to say it's nearly 10 years. Holy shit, I've known him a long time. I first worked with him on the Liosax YouTube channel, and I played a character who some of you might know, named Ox Sadler, in one of his web series called Derp Online. And I was also invited back to revisit and return as Ox Sadler for the Mazer arc, which is also really, really cool because I got to see more stuff about the Derp Online universe and Mazer and all this other stuff. And it's so cool. Like, that one, working with Alvaro, let me get on this for a second because people don't know this about me. So I guess I can just kind of tell the story. I don't know if Alvaro will ever comment on it. Guy's busy. He's busy running super successful stuff, and I'm super happy for that guy. Honestly am. I love him to death, man. I do. I have nothing but good things to say about him. Because Alvaro gave me that gig as Ox Sadler, that was true. I know the first one I did, that Halo Machinima thing, was technically the start, but being Ox Sadler, I accredit that and Alvaro to the entire reason that I even have a voiceover career. And I genuinely mean that. He gave me an opportunity to be a lead in a animation that wasn't bullshit like YouTube crap. It was really well done. And he wanted me to be, the dope blue bounty hunter with a tragic backstory and a dope red lightsaber and quippy jackass banter. Hell yeah, I want to do that. Without being able to be Ox Adler, I never would have been Planet X. I firmly believe that. Absolutely. If this ever gets out to Alvaro, thank you, my brother. Without you, I wouldn't have a career. And I'm always going to say that because I truly believe the moment I worked on Derp Online was the moment my voiceover career really started. Because from there on, I kept getting work. I took a huge, and this is what I mean. I took a big hiatus after I did the Derp Online stuff. I was in music and I was doing all this other stuff. I was on a completely different wavelength. I was still doing podcasts on a regular basis and doing animation stuff with a lot of different people, a lot of talented people. Fleet Quest is one that specifically comes to mind. Jaco, there's another one. Another person I got to work with who had always had great ideas was like, him in the server, Johnny Trogs, who originally was like Johnny Comics, man. Like he was a big fan, and then eventually I got to work with them on another project that's still in hiatus right now. Like, holy shit. It just opened me up to working with so many different people. And I always will credit Alvaro to really being the reason why my voiceover career started. The next question was, how did inspire you? Okay, I think what they're trying to say is basically what inspired me to become a voice actor, which character was the best you could have dubbed so far. Okay, these are two questions. I'm going to try to answer them both. The first one, what inspired me to become a voice actor? Honestly, I really don't know. And that sounds really strange to say out loud because I've never had to think about it until this question just popped up into the Ask Jay section on the Discord. Join 50 Shades of Jay, why don't you? Links in the description, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I came from music. I in my early teens, I recorded a song, and then from the success of that song, I was doing opening acts for other bigger, more famous, rich bands. And then I just kind of kept doing music, and I ended up doing very well. For me, I got to understand that I got to the point of you are regionally known as a good opener through people in the industry, and they'll always hire you. But I never attained that higher echelon because of my own behavior, and that's my fault. And that was a great lesson for me to learn. But I came from music. I came from hip-hop and metal and singing and all this other stuff. Voice acting was the furthest thing from my mind. I think the genesis of it started when I had a conversation with somebody who did hair and makeup for an independent feature film, a B-movie. And I ended up getting hired onto that project. And through that project, I was an extra. And then I also did fight choreography for it. And from there, I kind of just got bit by the acting bug. And then over time, small voiceover roles kind of came to me every now and then. I can't even remember which ones they were at this point because it was so long ago. But I said yes. And then I worked on my own projects, and I had to do a ton of the voices there. I did everything from my voice to like Hank Hill and like Dale Gribble and all these other voices and all this shit, man. So that was really the root of it. And then I can't really answer your question. There was no, I guess I did. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there was no real thing behind me becoming a voice actor. I think if I look back at it now, not look back, but if I kind of think about why I still love voice acting now, it's because when I think back to all the narrators and the radio stuff I'd listened to when I was a kid and all these voices, I don't know. I think there was just a part of me that always wanted to do that and be that. And I guess somewhere in my heart as a young kid, it was like a dream, I guess. I just never thought I'd realize it. I had so many other goals and dreams I wanted to do. And some of them I accomplished, and there's many I didn't. But I look back at it now, and I go, yeah, that's probably what I was trying to do. And what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to be all the voices I heard growing up. I think specifically one of the most resonating voices with me was probably Keith David. Because the longer I looked into his career, the more I investigated it, the more I realized that he was pivotal in every childhood movie with the majority of the media that I consumed growing up. And I remember a lot of movies that I watched that inevitably had him in it. I just never knew. And it gave me such a strong affinity for the guy because, I mean, I grew up watching him. And it's one, I think it's part nostalgia. But two, it's Keith fucking David, man. It's Keith fucking David. How could you not love that shit? You kidding me? I'm not talking about the stuff he did for Hazbin Hotel, even though it's awesome. I mean, I'm talking about him way back in the day when he's doing, like, The Thing. Like, he's a shit. Fucking fresh, man. God. I'm losing my ability to be professional right now and try to talk to you on a calm demeanor because it's Keith David. But enough about Keith David for now. I'll get on to another question. And this one came in the form of audio, so this will be fun. Let's see what they say.
Do you have any sort of routine before you work on something? Like a warm-up or anything like that?
Okay, first of all, thank you for the question. Second of all, that voice. Holy shit. How are you not a voice talent? What are you doing? Pick up a microphone. Anyways, yes, I kind of have a routine. I think that's something I didn't cover initially, so thank you for the question. I do a warm-up, and it sounds dumb, but it works, I guess. Your voice is an instrument, so you want to do a couple things where you warm your voice up. And it can start with like stretching out your esophagus. It sounds so bad, and I'm pretty sure porn stars do this on a regular basis, so maybe they got a better example than I can give. But you just try to like yawn without making the sound. Does that make sense? You're just trying to like open. I don't know how to explain it. I'm terrible at this. But yes, I do have a warm-up routine. Like I'll try to work on my vocal cords. And then I'll read things. Like I'll genuinely like read shit because if you only have like a cup of coffee in you, you're trying to read a line like and you're not fully aware. One, wake the hell up. Two, it's good to read and just read out loud and practice different emotions. But back to the specific warm up. It's really about like a pushing the air out to determine where you're pushing it out. Like when you make certain sounds with your voice, different parts of your like vocal cords are being used. And I can't explain this the same way other like experts can. So all I know is that I'll breathe out like a yawn and like, and I'll make different like notes of sound. And what it'll do, that vibration will open up my vocal cords so I can attain a lower range, or I can talk in a higher range. But then that's also a thing there. I'm kind of stuck at a mid-range. But hopefully that answers your question. So yes, I do have a routine. It involves very basic widening of the esophagus and warming of the vocal cords. And of course, sometimes I say things, and there's also other things of sometimes I do certain things to get into a role. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like there's just certain quirks. Like, I do a voice for Run Monster Run, and I play Overseer 404 on that show. It's a great show. I love it. Also ran by Alvaro, believe it or not. He's doing great work over there. But
that voice sounds like this.
oh my God. As you can hear, I haven't warmed myself up. But in order to do that Overseer 404 voice, I could break it down right now. It's not that complicated. You just have to
Raise.
So you're talking at the
So you're talking at the top, and then you give it a slight lisp. Not a real one, just a slight lisp. And then you have to talk a little crazy. So kind of imagine it's an intoxicated infant or a toddler, because giving alcohol to babies is bad.
So he kind of has this slurry, raspy, higher-pitched, cartoony voice.
But it could still leave room for grounded inflection. And I could still talk and deliver lines in a way that's convincing.
So you have to make sure, at least for that voice, I had to make sure I was able to keep up with the more whimsical, cartoony voice that he has, because it's a strange, unique voice. It's a character voice. But when he needed to go down to a different register, he could. And once again, you'll learn how to do this within your own voice ranges. Some people can go high, some people can go low. Some people have a fabulous voice range where they can go up and down and everywhere. They're all over the note section, and I'm jealous of them. Not really, but I respect it, because it is a skill. It's a natural ability, honed and sharpened with skill and time. So I hope that answers your question. I hope it's been insightful. I know that the technical side of things was not very well explained because I don't know it myself, and I'm not going to lie to you and be some bullshit artist. I'll just be honest. I don't know. I just know what I do. But I think I've sufficiently strangled enough of your time today. But before I go, thank you for tuning in, number one. And secondly, I did say I had an announcement to make. It's a small announcement. Don't get too excited, at least not yet. I'm just bullshitting. Get fucking excited. I'm making music again. And I'm not going to reveal too much more other than I finished a song, one of the songs for the upcoming little thing I'm releasing. And yeah, it's going to be different in a way for me. And I'm really excited on what people are going to think about it because it's very Jay. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just very me. And I learned throughout my own endeavors with music. If you see me on SoundCloud or Spotify, I do all different types of genres. And I realized early on, no, I take that back. It's not true. I realized way too late that I don't have to pigeonhole myself to one genre because that's not who I am. It's just not. I like making different shit when I feel like it. And right now, I'm in a different kind of mood. So the stuff I'm going to make is going to be a very interesting creative endeavor that I'll be happy to share with all of you when it's ready. So thank you for tuning in to Phrasing with Jay. And remember, everything on the internet is a lie, including this.